Good morning. Once again, here we are. It is 5:30 a.m. I have my coffee and we are about to talk about car dealership stuff. And this I'm going to talk about is super important, especially if you have a car dealership yourself. It is where I source all of my inventory. So we're going to get into that in just a minute. Before we do, hit that like, subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. It helps keep me motivated. No, I'm just playing. It does something with YouTube's algorithm thingamabobber and lets other people see the video, and then other people can ask cool questions like you guys do, and then I can come up with more material to answer those questions. And with that, let's get into where I get 99% of my vehicles, because there is an odd chance that I get a trade-in or something like that. But where I source 99% of my vehicles is actually Manheim's OVE. It's their online vehicle, like eBay thing. I don't think the E stands for eBay, but it may as well. But basically what that is it's kind of like an online eBay for car dealers only, right? And I'm going to explain to you why I buy my cars there. It's very important. I used to never buy my cars there, ever. I used to never go to Manheim because I didn't like their fees as compared to my local auctions and stuff like that. But I have learned that there is so much less risk, and I am not being paid by Manheim to say this, but this is if you're a car dealer, especially a used car dealer, this is probably the single greatest thing you can do is mediate risk with your dealership and the purchase of a vehicle. So let's get into that and discuss why. So Manheim has what they call, especially on their OVE, and they do have it in lane and simulcast and stuff too. I just personally prefer the protection that comes from OVE. Don't want to miss an announcement in the lane, and all sorts of things change last minute. On OVE, it is just there. You have time to read through everything and really understand what's going on with the vehicle. So let me walk you through how I buy a vehicle on OVE. First thing to do is, obviously you search for the vehicle. You find the vehicle you like, right? Let's say you find a vehicle you like. The first thing you need to do is on the main page, you need to look at the seller's disclosures, right? Because what will happen is they will announce certain things: transmission, oil leak, expect over $600 in repairs, blah, 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 blah. And those are things that a selling dealership will do to make sure that you cannot return this vehicle. That is what they don't want you to do, is return it. They want you to sell it. And they want to sell it and they want to make sure that they get their cash. But they also want to make sure you're happy, right? So what you do is you have to read through all those comments. Then if it has a condition report, which is a CR indicated at the top, you'll also want to click through that, because sometimes the seller might not disclose something that's in the condition report, and you can't arbitrate on stuff that's already in there, right? And this is the arbitration is the key. Arbitration is the single most important thing for your dealership, and it's to make sure these cars are taken care of, and great when you get them. So, for example, you can go through this condition report, you can buy this vehicle, and after you buy it, you get it either transported to your location. You can within 10 days. So you have 10 days to arbitrate this vehicle. Arbitration means to essentially, I'm so sorry, guys. It's essentially to open a claim that, hey, there was something not disclosed in this vehicle when I purchased it. And that has to be over $600 worth of damages, or a handful of things at like $150 a piece, I think, is per the rules accumulated. But typically, if it's under like $400 or $500, you're really probably not going to do much anyways to it. It's really, motor, transmission, electrical issues, things like that, right? You're really going to really care more about those things. Because of the minor stuff, you probably, as a dealership, you probably already have the means or so to get a mechanic to fix it pretty cheaply, right? Or within a reasonable price. So anyways, the beauty of Manheim arbitration and OVE is that once the vehicle sells, you have 10 days, calendar days now, right? That's important, not business days. You have 10 calendar days to arbitrate this vehicle, or 2 days after you receive it, which is so awesome. So once you get the vehicle, you can test drive the vehicle. You can get it inspected by your mechanic at your shop. If they come back with anything wrong with the vehicle, you simply go to the Manheim app, or go there on your desktop, click arbitrate, put the reason why. Now, this is also key that I've learned. You can only arbitrate it once. So let's say that the car won't start. All right, you want to arbitrate the car for not starting. Okay. The problem with that is that if the car does start because it needs a battery or something like that, and then you get the car and it is needs a new motor or a new transmission or anything major, you can't arbitrate a second time. All right, just the rules. Okay, so it's super important that you make sure when you arbitrate it that you are arbitrating it for everything that's wrong with the vehicle. In addition to that, what you want to make sure that you do as well is that you get the vehicle as quickly as possible. So the selling dealership, if the vehicle is not at Manheim's location, has 2 days to get you the vehicle ready to have a drive out, right? Which means that your transporter can come and pick that up. If they don't do that, you can arbitrate, unwind the deal, vehicle not available, boom, 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 bye. Because time is money, one. Two, you need to give yourself that 10 days to get the vehicle to your lot. And that's 10 days after you bought it, not 10 days after they delivered it to the lot for you to be able to pick it up. So if they take 2 days, that already gives you only 8 days to get this vehicle. And oftentimes for me, I'm in Central Florida, and it might, I mean, if I get a car in Alabama, Georgia, Texas, I try to buy from the lower states. People down here in Florida don't really deal well with rust. So I try to check the Carfaxes, and I buy from the southern states. Just the vehicles tend to be in better cosmetic condition due to the rust that you get up north. So sometimes if I get a car in Texas, it might take 5 days to get here. Might take 2-3 days to get here. It might take 2 days just to find a transporter. Honestly, sometimes, I mean, it's kind of crazy. So, you want to give yourself enough leadway to get that thing done, to get that car to you as soon as possible. Because the beautiful thing is if you pay for transport and the vehicle arrives and you can arbitrate it on something, let's say the transmission was slipping, something like that, right? You put that arbitration claim through, you get actually your transportation costs refunded to you as well. They'll send you an email and you upload your bill of sales from your transporter, and they take care of those as well. And I believe it's on the selling dealer's dime. I don't see why Manheim would actually pay for that themselves, because it was the selling dealer that knew it, but they were trying to pull a fast one, right? So that is why I buy most of my cars there. For one, you get the arbitration, which is so key, because my auction 5 minutes from my house gives basically their rule is, and every auction is different, right? It just happens to be their rule. Their rule is that if you buy a car, you have to pay them to PSI it, which is post-sale inspection it. If any issue comes up over $500, then you can arbitrate the vehicle. Well, this is, I don't have to pay anything for OVE to do that, right? In addition, if I don't do that, that night of the auction, then that auction basically says, oh, well, sucks to be you. And at that auction, you don't get to test drive the cars. Manheim, I don't get to test drive the cars either, right? You don't get to test drive the cars at these places. So that's where you get stuck as a dealer. A dealer gets this car, and they got tons of cost in there. That's a very difficult way to manage your used car dealership when you're trying to get all these costs repaired on vehicles that are unnecessary. When you can pay the extra couple $100 maybe in Manheim fees and transport, for peace of mind and reassurance, knowing that when you get the vehicle, you will be able to sell this thing, or if you get the vehicle, your repairs will be minimized. If not, you won't be responsible for the vehicle anymore, and you can basically return it, almost like a Walmart situation. It's really, 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 really important. Now, you can only arbitrate cars that are not as is. If it's not indicated in it as is or TRA, then it's basically run and drive. I always recommend read the comments first. Make sure they didn't disclose anything. Read the seller's disclosure. Make sure they didn't disclose anything, and then go through the condition report. For me personally, when I do it, I'm pretty quick with it. I go right down to the seller's comments, read through those. Oftentimes, there isn't a comment at all. 5:30 is kicking my butt this morning. I don't know why. Oftentimes, there isn't a comment at all. Oftentimes, they have no disclosure, right? And then you go over to the condition report, And when you go to the condition report, you'll see like, hey, these are the major issues, the major damages. Oftentimes for me, if it's not mechanical, I have a great body guy, I have a great upholstery guy and everything like that. So if it's not like mechanical, not that I don't have a great mechanic guy either. It's just mechanic stuff adds up quickly. So I tend to go straight down to the mechanic stuff. If it's great looking mechanic wise, then I do evaluation on the vehicle and see if it actually makes sense for me. But over time you get used to seeing certain cars and you kind of know the valuations, and we can go into valuation a different time. So with that, guys, it's kind of one of my biggest tips if you are a used car dealership or if you're looking for used cars or something like that. Manheim OVE has been my number one source for cars for almost a year now. It's been kind of wild, where I exclusively just buy through them to the point where I don't even waste my time going to the auction anymore. I haven't been doing auction shoot in probably almost a year, because it didn't make sense for my business anymore. Too many times buying cars at auction in lane with no ability to arbitrate, the headaches that you run through, the cost, the thousands of dollars I've lost when you buy a car. Let's say like I bought a Nissan Rogue from one auction. It's green light, but you didn't arbitrate it that night because, I mean, you didn't PSI it, right? So you're basically flying blind. You might as well just bought it as is, because that's kind of the way the rules are set up for certain auctions, especially the smaller ones. Yeah, no test drive, no nothing. You get the car, it's the transmission shot. Yeah, it shifts into first, second, and third, but doesn't go in anywhere else after that. Tranny shot. Now you got to rerun it back through and hope there's a greater full behind you that'll pay for that exact same car, knowing you just bought it or something. And it just stinks all around, man. And yeah, like on that particular road, I lost $2,000 after just all I did was buy it, try to drive it out. Tranny was shot, couldn't arbitrate it, had to run it back through the auction and wait for somebody to give me $2,000 less on the vehicle. And it's got one of the CVT transmissions on. I can't even fix it for that, right? It's $5,000 transmission. It's insane. So that being said, the protection that you get from Manheim OVE is second to none. It is the place that I source my inventory from. And I'm curious to see if you guys are car dealers out there too. Where do you guys source your inventory from if OVE is not the place, or where you get this same kind of risk aversion and the same sort of level of protection? So let me know in the comments below. I appreciate it, guys. I'm going to sign off now. Hope y'all have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video.